Hello, happy holidays, and specifically for today's video, Merry Christmas. Today we will be reading the Die Hard Christmas, which I guess is starting to become a tradition on the channel. This is one of our most important Christmas stories, so it is important to revisit it each year. We'll be reading this illustrated holiday classic written by Doogie Horner and illustrated by J.J. Harrison. The best way to consume Die Hard, of course, is by watching the film. But it can be nice on Christmas Eve to read the storybook as well. I've covered this ground before, but Die Hard is very definitely a Christmas movie. This is a fundamental truth. And I believe, as I've said before, it is not simply about it having Christmas in it or being set at Christmas time. There are films that are set at Christmas time that are not Christmas movies. Shane Black actually seems to set many of his films at Christmas, but they're not all Christmas movies. The distinction with Die Hard is that it is set at Christmas and it is essential to the story that it is at Christmas. You would not have Die Hard without it. Whereas Lethal Weapon, which I admit is on the fence as a Christmas movie, you're not likely to notice that it is set at Christmas if you're not thinking about it. It is not fundamental to the story. You could view it without the Christmas element and it would still be the same. It does have the coming together of family in a way, which is why I say it's borderline. But in Die Hard, the coming together of family is an important emotional aspect of the film and vital to the experience of Christmas. It's our time to get together with family, or if you celebrate some other holiday, it can fulfill the same purpose. And sometimes being around family can be challenging. It's important to be tolerant and patient. However, despite my general message of tolerance, we should be intolerant of anyone who thinks Die Hard is not a Christmas film. So stand firm on this. Other non-traditional Christmas classics. Hunt for Red October. Again, with my logic, you could argue it is borderline. However, while you could say it could take place not at Christmas, it is somewhat important that it does. And it is a story about bringing peace to the world, which is another vital element of Christmas. So, lest I ramble on all night, keeping you from pounding more eggnog and eating more cookies, let us get into the story. And if you've seen my other video, you know I have some issues with the book, but I think we can still enjoy it for what it is. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and up in the tower everyone was partying, except one wallflower. John McClane missed his wife. Things just weren't the same since Holly had moved west and changed her last name. Holly Gennaro. He tried to win her back, but still she said no, while unbeknownst to them, there was trouble below. A truck had pulled up, and who should disembark but 14 men whose intentions were dark. If you could have told me there were 14, I would be very impressed. They spoke not a word and unloaded big crates. They cut the phone lines and locked all the gates. Carl swept the ground floor, shooting every guard dead, while visions of bearer bonds danced in his head. John took off his shoes, making fists with his toes. It actually worked. Well, what do you know? And if you are traveling, I actually recommend this. It does work. When out in the lobby there arose such a clatter, he sprung to the door to see what was the matter. When what to his wondering eyes should appear, holy crap, there are terrorists here? John hid under a table where no one could see, and watched Hans question Mr. Takagi. I'm going to count to 3, there will not be a 4. Give me the codes to open the vault door. I don't know the codes, so go ahead and shoot. Okay, said Hans Gruber, and ruined Takagi's suit. John tried to call the cops by pulling an alarm, but instead called the bad guys who tried to cause him harm. I am wearing my die-hard Christmas sweater, but I do aim to get the nice gray sweatsuit to add to my holiday options. But John killed Tony, who had very small feet, and sent him to the terrorists as a Yuletide treat. He put a Santa hat on the German and eyes all aglow, wrote, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." Carl was furious. Tony was his brother. He chased John across the roof, and they shot at each other. John was able to escape through the ventilation shafts. Come out to the coast, he sighed. We'll have a few laughs. At Nakatomi Tower, Sergeant Powell appeared. He checked the whole lobby and saw nothing weird. He was pulling away, but didn't get far before Marco landed on the hood of his car. Powell drove away backwards, screaming in fright. "Welcome to the party, pal," John yelled with delight. More police arrived, the FBI and a SWAT team. But Hans didn't mind. It was all part of his scheme. More rapid than eagles, his henchmen they came, and he radioed and shouted and called them by name. Now Eddie, now James, now Franco, now Uli, on Fritz and on Carl, hair long and unruly. What a cast of characters. They shot the SWAT tank with a surface-to-air missile and knocked it away like the down of a thistle. Now John McClane was angry indeed. He blew up 2 terrorists and called them jerkweed. Ellis told Hans, "Bobby, I'm your white knight." Hans shot him dead, giving the hostages a fright. Hans went to go check on the explosives fuse and saw that poor John wasn't wearing any shoes. John fled from Carl and Hans, but alas, he had to run barefoot over sharp, broken glass. His feet, how they hurt, his soul's oh so bloody. John crawled to the bathroom and called his good buddy. John was weary and ready to throw in the towel until he got a pep talk from Sergeant Owl Powell. Powell was chubby and plump, a right jolly old cop, and he trusted the cowboy in the tattered tank top. But a reporter was probing into McLean's life, revealed that Holly was actually John's wife. Hans quickly flipped over the gold picture frame. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. McLean." His clothes all tarnished with ashes and soot, John staggered to the roof, bloody and barefoot. The explosives were wired to the rooftop with care, in hopes that the hostages soon would be there. John warned everyone the roof would soon blow, as the chopper strafed him with high-powered ammo. Around his waist he tied a fire hose tight, and screaming an oath, jumped into the night. He dangled in the air and gritted his teeth, while flames encircled the tower like a wreath. Fiercely fighting his way back inside, John yelled out, "Hans!" He was done trying to hide. He limped to the vault like an old man on crutches, only to find Holly in his filthy clutches. John dropped his gun, put his hands on his head. It seemed he and Holly soon would be dead. But with a secret gun taped to his back, John shot Hans in a surprise attack. Spoiler alert. Hans fell out the window, still holding Holly's arm, and slowly, deliberately raised his firearm. The tenacious villain held on by his nails till John unhooked Holly's watch and said, "Happy trails." The watch is such a brilliant part of the film. Anyway, bearer bonds fluttered like fresh fallen snow as Holly embraced her blood-spattered beau. So Merry Christmas to all, be kind to one another, and most of all, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. The end. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful Christmas tale. I wish you all the best for the holidays. Enjoy your family. Have a wonderful time, and a Merry Christmas to all. Good night.